Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Board of Works meeting tonight. It is 5 p.m. Could we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, could we have a roll call, please, Carol?
Mayor Sheets,
Here.
Greg Miller,
Present.
Megan Sheets,
Okay, next on the agenda is the minutes from the May 26, 2020 meeting. I'd entertain a motion to pass those minutes. Or if you have any questions.
I'll make a motion that we pass the minutes of May 26th.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Do we have any public comments? Do we have a sign-in sheet?
We do have a sign-in sheet.
Is there anything on there? Nothing on there. Okay, we have no public comments. I think tonight we're gonna start with the police department. Scott, do you wanna go ahead and come forward? We're gonna use the podium over here. I don't know where you wanna do the swearing in.
First, I want to thank the mayor and board of works for allowing us to quickly replace K9 Auto who retired last November. Great. Mayor Chief took over March 3rd. The board gave me the approval to get this taken care of. So after March 3rd, myself and Sergeant Evan Hall over there, we went to Virginia to look at K9 Athena, who was handler had left that department. We were able to observe K9 Athena in action, and we brought her back to Frankfurt that day. K9 handler process was initiated, and Officer Chris Salva was selected by a group of officers to become Athena's handler. I would like to introduce to the Board of Works and the City of Frankfurt, K9 Athena and Officer Chris Salva. Chris, you come up here for me. Athena is a 2.5-year-old German Shepherd Belgian Malinois mix. She's certified through the North American Police Work Dog Association, and recently, I think May 26th, we graduated, May 29th, K9 Athena and Officer Salva graduated a 6-week K9 school in Marion Center, Michigan. She's trained in odors of marijuana, heroin, cocaine, and methamphetamines. Officer Salva and K9 Athena for your swearing in there.
Thank you. Oh, yeah. Okay. Can we get Athena to?
We will see. This may be an uphill battle.
I, Athena, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Indiana, and that I will faithfully, impartially, and honestly discharge the duties of my office as K9 officer according to law and to the best of my ability, and will assist my handler in enforcing the law, to search for lost children, to find illegal drugs, to track suspects, criminal apprehension, and to be an ambassador for the Frankfurt Police Department, so help me God. Thank you. We don't have a witness here.
Can we get a picture
Do you want to get some pictures? Yeah. Let's get some pictures. Real quick.
Mayor? Mayor, you need to. Don't run away.
Wish you.
You're not the gents.
Somebody will get it.
Is everybody in?
I'm in.
Can you see?
Jim.
Jim.
Jim Hyden.
Scoot over to the left. Jim. All right. Officially official.
Got it ready?
All right.
Oh, great, thank you.
Official.
We're gonna take this back, and you can get it tomorrow, we'll send it over to you. Okay, thank you. Okay, Scott, do you want to go ahead with your reports then?
2 weeks ago, we were tasked with finding our next code enforcement officer due to an open position. We had several applications, but one rose to the top. At that meeting, you'd asked me to find this position and get him started due to some graphic plans and whatnot. So, we did offer the job to Ed Russell. He was selected, after an application interview period and a background investigation. He's already been trained with Jay Lars and Charles Bay. He's extremely excited to work with the city of Frankfurt. I requested the Board of Public Works and Safety ratify the hire for June 2nd. Yeah.
Someone like to make that motion to ratify the hiring of Ed Russell.
I'll move that we hire Ed Russell retroactively to second, say Scott?
Yeah.
Yes. Ratify that hire.
Thank you. Okay, roll call please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Earlier, I don't know when the mayor may send that straight. We'll talk about that.
Yes.
One of our main goals set out earlier in the term was to get the police department instructed, but the council and the board of works and the mayor got together and wanted to make sure that that was the location. I think the last meeting in February or January, we discussed going to the airport. Since then, and working with the council and the board of works, a few weeks ago, our council committee, myself, the mayor, toured the old CDS property and believed that we should still consider this location. So the mayor has sent an appraisal at some point today or prior, and I'm requesting that the board approve those, that cost for me to have our budget. We have enough budget to make that happen.
There's enough money to cover that in the public safety budget line for the police department. Okay, the cost for the appraisal is $3,475. And we should have like a 3-week turnaround on that. Once I get the approval for that, and he said he'd start working on it, be about 3 weeks. We just felt that it was necessary not to give up on that location. A lot of pros and cons on the airport, and I know that's as well with CBS, but I felt like it was worth going back and seeing if this is what we want to do. So we're gonna work with the owners again and see if we can get anywhere with them, but they want to do new appraisals because the others are, 2 years old probably?
They've offered this time to pay for one.
Yeah, and they've offered to pay for one if we'll pay for one. So, would anyone like to make a motion for the approval of this contract?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Thank you. That motion passed. So we'll send that to him tomorrow.
The last thing I have is that while many cities surround us to cancel the 4th of July fireworks, our city is going to continue to celebrate the 4th of July with fireworks. We're still planning to have extra officers at the park, because some of the larger cities near us have canceled their events. So we're still going to prepare. We might have an increase in people, not sure, but we'll be prepared to ensure safety at the park. Other than that, if you have any questions, I have nothing.
And we're still standing with fireworks only. Now, unless something comes up on the playground, they're still gonna be closed, but the park's open. They can go out there, the restrooms open, they can have picnics, they can be out there walking around, but there's not gonna be any vendors or anything. Thank you, Scott. Okay, Annie.
Evening. I have just two quick updates. I've been working with Mayor Sheets on a positive outreach campaign. Since March, our community has been faced with public health crisis, economic downturn, and some social unrest. So next week, June 15th through 19th, we're running a Be Kind campaign here in the city. We're going to be discussing this with our department heads a little later this week to work with them on exploring ways each department can promote kindness in the community and to share that with people out in the community. More information will be released on this initiative a little bit later this week before we kick it off next Monday. And then, I think it's close to the 4th of July, we've had several people asking us on our social media or calling in about the fireworks policy within the city. So I got with Chief Kirby today, and we're gonna distribute some information and share the rules for fireworks on our website, social media, things like that, so people are aware of what the rules are and what to do if they think someone's fireworks.
Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
I'm excited for what we're gonna do on the Be Kind Week. So department heads, get creative, think of good things. I think that's what we need to do. We need to have some positive input right now.
Fire chief report today.
Be nice.
John Kirby, you
Well, I'm gonna be kind, and I'm gonna welcome Greg Miller to Board of Works meeting and let him know that he's been in about as many meetings as we have, because we're usually on the phone. So, first I want to, ratify our building permit for the headquarters restroom, and see if we can get that, date. Got with Don last week and got us a permit. And so I wanted to see if the iron board would approve this.
Is everything good to go on that, Don?
It is.
Okay. And it's pretty common for city buildings like that to waive that permit fee. So,
Mayor, I will say that there's an outside plumber doing the work, but he's a licensed plumber from Boone County. We have that recorded in the office.
okay, very good.
Yeah, I
Thank
got
you.
Don's license.
Okay, thank
In
you.
case anybody had questions.
Okay, okay, thank you. I would entertain a motion as such.
Given the due diligence, I'd like to make a motion that the permit, building permit be waived for construction.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes.
And we set up this restroom project with, instead of paying all at once, obviously to get the contractor started. We set up 4 draws, payment draws, and we're a little over 3 weeks into this. And I would like to request, maybe by the end of the week to pull out this second draw for tile and fixtures. And we're hoping by the end of this week, beginning of next week, the shower part is done, at least the guys can start showering instead of using our outhouse and shower. So anyways, and that second draw, is $21,346. I do want you to know also, Dan came over last week and kind of looked it over, and he said he had anything he's gonna get down, that he's gonna continue to come back
Okay,
and keep up in that.
sounds good.
And those aren't equal draws. I mean, they're different.
Yeah, they're
increments. When
different.
you say 4. we're
Yeah, the first one, the first draw, was 32%, 17,076.80. And the second draw was 40%, 21,346. And the third draw was 25%, 13,341.25. And then the final draw was 1,695, with an equal up to $53,365.
Thank you, Tom, for that reminder. I'll move that we approve the second draw for the restroom renovation.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is that contingent on the approval of building inspector?
Yes.
If that's,
Yes.
up to that point, we're okay, then we can approve that.
Yeah, it said in the contract, it says that. Well,
You okay with that?
that's it.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay.
Pass.
Um,
Next.
Last week, Mayor Sheets and myself met with Union Township trustee, and then I spoke with Jackson Township trustee over the phone to kind of reconfigure our contracts for, actually this year, 20 and 21. And just to give them a little bit of help with, tax draws, possibly being delayed, maybe not getting what they were expecting. And the mayor came up with kind of a brilliant way to still, get the city money, but also help them out as well. And we're able to use the fire fume fund, talk to the DLGF, and said as long as we have wording in here that that money from the fire fume was going to go to fire equipment, that could be put in the contract. So we reconfigured the contract out, and I have them with the clerk, treasurer, and she's going to pass them on to you guys, and maybe you possibly look at them, sign them. If you don't feel comfortable signing them today, you're more welcome to take them and read them, and see, and then get with me later in the week, or if you do feel comfortable, you sign them, I can get them to the township trustees as soon as possible, because they are working with their budget, and I told them I would get it to them as soon as we can. They both were very happy with what we came up with. But it's on the last paragraph, I believe, on both those contracts, actually talks about the money portion of the fire protection contract.
So what's really happening is the fire protection contract is remaining the same, but each one of those townships have since put into place their cume fire. And so instead of just when we go to them to say we need something, we're requiring them to give us some of that cume fire that they have gotten. This is the first year, I think, for both of them,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Right now, the Union had 6,000 and Jack's had 10 in there.
So we thought we would try it this year, see exactly how much, because they're not positive what they're gonna take in on cume fire. Like he said, DLGF said it's fine, they can just give us so much money. So we're still getting the same or a little bit more, I think, this year, but it all evens out over the next 2 years, because then next year we're gonna double their fire equipment, from 5 to 10, and then did you go 8 to 16?
For
So that's the way we're gonna make up that difference, because they weren't sure, they're like we are on tax draws, where they're gonna come up, or how that's all gonna work. So it's really not that much dollar difference, it's just the way the money's gonna be used. Larry did tell us from Union Township that he will go for max levy. They're not at max levy right now, and I said, well, I'd really like to see you do that. So he's gonna go with max levy, because I said for 22, we might not be able to keep everything the same as it is, so. And I don't know whether, when you talk to Fran, if they're at max levy or not right now, but,
she said they are.
okay.
So when this says, John, it has two figures here, 18.5 figure and a 16,000. So is that 16,000, is that specific to equipment, or can that be used for, it says any fire?
Well, obviously in my line, I have equipment lines in my general budget. So all that will go back to city general to supplement my budget. And they have to pay it in December, so they won't pay it twice in 1 year. They'll pay the fire protection in July and December, but only pay the equipment in December.
And so the two figures then would just go back,
Yes.
it just,
It'll
Two
go back into,
specific, yes.
yeah, the city general, it's not for specific equipment
Right.
at that point, it's just a reimbursement to the city for any equipment or expenses that they had.
We want to double check with the LGF to make sure that was even legal, and they said as long as it specifies equipment, and like, they will make out 2 separate checks in December as well. So one will go to the city of Frankfurt for fire protection, and the other one will go to the city of Frankfurt for fire equipment.
And then we also told them that if something comes up, an expense, because I know they're gonna have more than what we're asking for out of the CUME, John might come to them and say, we've got this additional expense this year, but we're guaranteed that amount, but if there's anything else that comes up and they have CUME fire money, then
And we told them.
they're real good about
Yeah,
helping
let
us
the guy
anyway.
name them, just to do it. I mean, if it's an emergency, we need it. You know, we can always, hit up the township.
Did you tell me that, how long have they established it?
It's the first, this is the first year. Mhm.
Yeah, they both agreed to that last year, and I think they had to have that established by February of last year.
Last year, and they're at the .333 rate. So I'd like to work with them during this time that they're just trying to get adjusted to having a CUME fire fund. And we still get our money, it's just from a different way, but
I'll make a motion that we accept the transfer Jackson to the township.
I'll second.
roll call please.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller, Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And I think there's a place for everybody to sign on those, and then you'll get them to Fran and Larry, right?
Yes, I'll take them there tomorrow.
And then get them back to the clerk.
If you guys sign them tonight, I'll give them to you
Okay.
tomorrow.
Okay, that's
Then,
good.
then get them back to, Carol.
Thank you.
And I did give, the 2020 contract to Carol the signed copy. They
Oh.
got it back to me, sent it down to there,
Did they?
so
Okay,
she has the original.
okay, thank you.
Just real quick, lieutenant promotion process, there's interviews tonight at 6 P.M. What I would just like to ask the board is, we've been without this lieutenant since the beginning of March, when Lieutenant Rutledge retired, and obviously with the social distancing and COVID-19, we haven't had we didn't have the process until recently. But I would like to, if they bring me a name in the next day or two, bring it to you guys just outside of here, just to get your approval to go ahead and start this firefighter as a lieutenant and get him moving forward with that. And then I could ratify that at the next board works meeting on the 22nd.
We could do it. I think it'd be okay, wouldn't it, Les? Yeah. If you're in agreement with, the choice it was gonna make it. That's up to you, but.
Yeah, our board, they're picking the lieutenant 100%, and they're just gonna bring me a name. And the name that they bring me is, I'm happy with all the candidates, so I think each one of them could make a good lieutenant, so they ran this process, they did a great job. It's the first time we've ever had a board for promotion process, which I really like. It takes a whole lot of pressure off me. I won't have to make people mad at me. I definitely, especially next week on Be Kind to the fire.
Yeah, be kind.
So anyways, I would like to do that. If they come up with a name here in the next few days, like to either email you guys or get with you one-on-ones, see if you like anything.
Any thoughts on that? You okay with
Okay.
that? Okay.
All right, and I want to give you a quick update. Engine 2, right now we're using the backup engine. Every time we get it going, it gets hot and the transmission does not engage. And so we have McQuinn, it's electrical issue. It's kind of over Young's head right now, so we have McQuinn emergency actually coming to work on that. So right now, you see your backup engine, I just kind of wanted to let them know why it's like that. And the good news is, this is a Center Township, so they'll be paying. Yes, so, and tomorrow, we were having live burn training, on 550 or 50, west, out past Nils Farm. They donated the house to us. but we took the roof off a long time ago. Obviously, we kind of held up training because of the COVID-19, so we didn't do a lot of fire training at that time, getting everybody together. Well, in the meantime, we've had a whole lot of rain, and with the roof not being there, we went out today to check on it, and all the ceilings have basically collapsed, and it's nasty in there. There's one room that was preserved for some reason. So instead of having 3 days of training and getting all everyone's gear all messed up and stuff from all the insulation stuff, we decided we're just gonna go ahead and have a training tomorrow. We invited 2 of the younger guys off of the other crews in, along with 2 probies that work tomorrow, and they're gonna go out and let them actually feel a little heat, some live training, and then we're just gonna burn the house down Wednesday. That's I like burning houses down. That's the funnest part of it. So anyways, I just wanted to give you an update on that,
Okay, thank you.
so.
You had a conflict of interest or something?
Oh, yeah. Ryan took that to the clerk's office,
Okay,
so.
we, say what it's for there is Ryan Weaver.
Ryan Weaver, lieutenant at the Frankfurt Fire Department, also has a company, Bio Recovery Specialist, where he does remediation for biohazard incidents like meth houses and COVID-19. You should have a copy of that.
And as an employee of the city, he should have that, he's gonna do any workforce, and he has, so. That needs to be in place, and we usually do an annual disclosure on that. So it'll be now until the end of the year, and make sure we have to renew. Yeah.
I'll move that we accept the disclosure statement for Ryan Weaver and Fire Recovery Specialist, LLC.
We had Ryan do some, it was kind of an emergency. He didn't have one still out yet, but we thought we had somebody who was affected. So we had him actually go down, clean station 2 and engine 2. So, and it was like a experimental thing, so that's why he's already done the work, but he's just now filling it out.
He's also done some work at another department this year.
Right.
Ready for roll call? Yep.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye.
Greg Miller, Megan Sheets.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. Is there anything else for us, John?
Nope, that's it.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Jason, you're up.
Think you'd be a little quicker now.
No, that wouldn't be.
Thank you, Mayor, Board Works. First thing I had, I wanted to go over the, I don't know if it's something we need to ratify, but I know we, everyone copies of the paving and the advertising for bid contracts for paving this year. We are going to advertise June 26th to July 3rd. And then have the bids turned in by the Board of Works by July 13th. What I wanted to ask the Board of Works today, and I'll talk to a few of you about it, is possibly we can award that bid, maybe have it early on the 13th, and kind of take a recess while everybody else is giving their updates, and hopefully by the end of the day, go ahead and award that contract. I know we put a lot of time in the past, we could take 2 weeks, and right now, we're a little bit late here. We're already probably looking at a late August, 1st September pay date, but they want to do this contract, what their schedule is, so I didn't know if we need to ratify something since we already signed that contract, or how do you?
Les, do you see a problem with that? He wants to go ahead and open the bids, and then he could meet with whoever submits those bids and then come back and make a recommendation.
This is the bids on what?
For paving. And in the past, we've always taken it under advisement and waited 2 weeks, and I was wanting to see if possibly we could award it that day.
Well, you can. I mean, if
I
you
mean,
feel comfortable doing it, if the
right,
board does.
Right, obviously, I mean, if we had any questions, but, we kind of obviously there's usually,
There's a timing issue.
well, I think we're just later than normal right now.
Kind of
So it'd be
behind.
nice to be able not to wait until the next board of works meeting
But
before
what's the estimated cost, you know,
for,
for the paving? You have any idea?
well, I mean, we've got about 400, just a little over 400,000.
Yeah, typically they are taken under advisement and studied, and contact the contractors if you have questions. There's nothing preventing you from awarding the contract.
We always have, the engineering company will be there that day, and there's always, there's a contractor who's represented there, who of course is.
Is Butler Fairman gonna be there?
Yes,
Well, they can look it over too.
right,
Okay,
and
yeah.
that's why,
Usually we don't have an
Right.
engineer. Yeah, that's good.
Would you be agreeable to that? I mean, if there's a problem or we don't think it's gonna work that way, at least that's what we can,
Our intent.
yeah.
you know, if something comes up, obviously, it's not like we're gonna run out of time. But, you know, it's better to do it when it's hot. It's better when it's hot. Taking the process, and then it's gonna keep us on somebody's schedule. Obviously, and that gives away a ton of money now. Once you're approved, then you're at the mercy of the contractor when you get scheduled.
Is it typically the same contractors that are bidding?
Normally, we always send out, unless told me it's okay, to send out bids to the ones we always get some. I've got calls from a couple others that we haven't, which is good. Good thing. So we try to,
This will be community crossing money. Half of it will be, and then the other 50% comes from the city.
we have to do anything with the contract, sign that. We got to sign it, but we haven't, is there a roll call has to be taken out of it? We'll just move forward with those dates. I just want to make sure we have dates set.
Should we- Approve those dates for advertising.
Yes.
Okay. Let me mention.
I'll make that motion, that we approve the dates for advertising.
Again, those are the 26th, the 26th of June, the 3rd of July is the advertising dates with the award being the 3rd.
And I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Next thing I have, and I appreciate Carol's help on this, I think maybe she emailed you, I know maybe you made me a call and asked a question, so. I had a couple bids early on for the new leaf machine that we're going to use our sanitation capital improvement plan. I had a couple of them, I got the other one this morning about 8 o'clock, so I wanted to ask Carol if she could help me out to maybe get this on the day's agenda since I didn't have it on there. But, we have 3 bids, unless I looked over the way we need to do things, we're still good. The first bid, two of them look pretty much exactly like Extreme Back, made by ODB. One is out of Mantano, Illinois. The cost for that one was $79,500. The two main, I guess 2 or 3 main items on those bids are the Kubota engine. You'll see that at 87 horsepower. We actually had in the capital improvement plan 25 yard. That's what's on the approved appropriation reports. But looking at it, we were able to look at a 30-yard machine, and still stay with one of the bids. The city still stay underneath that 75,000. And I was telling Megan on the phone today that extra 5, those extra 5 yards of space makes a big difference when you're out doing things. You're going to cut down on your trips to dump and just extend your time out on the street a little bit more. So it was kind of nice to see that we're able to stay in that with a 30-yard versus a 25-yard. The next one is the same type of machine from a different company, Key Equipment Supply Company out of Bridgeton, Missouri. The total for that one was $86,440.31. Again, still a 30-yard mark on there with the 87 horse Kubota, and make sure the main thing you want to look at when you're looking at a big machine. And the last one, I know the mayor's familiar with best equipment. We've used best equipment in the past for some track truck purchases, and they've always worked real well with us. Again, a 30-yard leaf back with the ODB, same type of machine for 74, 132, 17. Shane Meyer, the best equipment, great to work with. He's always done real well. You just help other things as well. If we have questions, he's there the next day to help us out. So with the board works approval, I'd like to get the ODB machine from best equipment for 74, 132, 17. That comes out of, I think,
Sanitation.
yeah, sanitation, okay. It is 452, 225, 452.
You have the 75,000, so.
And obviously, I, just talked to Carol, that won't be used for quite a while, but we had, October of the year before we were on, we had to get it done, and probably, the way Shane was talking, anybody else would probably lose 60 days at least before we.
And the sanitation fund does have enough money in it that we could cover this expense and still be okay.
I'll move that we accept the best equipment proposal for $74,132.17.
I said that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets,
Aye,
Greg Miller,
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
that passes, so we can go ahead and be in the process of getting that ordered.
Did want to let you know too, and I was telling Megan today, the two machines we have, or we're hoping that we can run 3 machines. And Megan said you could probably use 10 machines during the leading season, still not having them, so we're excited about having that extra machine. And Greg, just so you know, last board work meeting, we approved a F-250 pickup truck. That's what this F-250 is, all this. I want to give the board, the rest of everything, just kind of updates. I want to give the board an update on phase 2 Washington Avenue. And since we haven't been around the media, I think they can kind of get an idea of what's going on. But phase 2 Washington Avenue this year is going to be strictly utilities only. We had an issue with utilities in phase 1, and I've really worked with American Structure Point and was adamant that they stay on the utilities. Yeah, they have a certain amount of time to get it done, which I've got a couple of emails back and replied, and I didn't really care for it. It's like, I know you had this much time, but recognize what we ran into last time. If you get on the work, please get on the work. 2020, that will be basically what we'll be doing in Washington Avenue. And then April of 2021 will be the letting date for, I guess, construction. It'd be nice to see the utilities be all out of the way, and it'll be strictly road work from that point on. I know there's been dates thrown around, Ken probably thinking, I don't know what dates you're gonna use, but that's kind of how it came down and how it's worked out. Joe Dewey from Construction Point has sent emails to all utilities involved last week, so they had, that's something I spoke to him about early on. I don't want that to be a problem here. The above ground parking lot, if it's okay with you, Mayor, we're gonna start putting those signs in tomorrow.
Good.
Got those, and we're ready to put those in. We're both kind of supposed to be kind of nasty on those. So we'll get as many in as we can, and I think there might have been one section, I think it's just one spot
Yes,
that they were putting an air conditioner or
Yes.
something in. Prairie Creek
far
Park.
northeast,
Yes.
they said leave that spot
And we're
open.
gonna go ahead and put the sign there, so it's up, but I'll just let you know. Obviously, whoever that sign belongs to won't be able to park there until we're finished with that, so. Speed bumps are in at Warner and Crescent. We've got some calls about those. People not around the park, so those are put in today. Hackett Street, I don't know if you drove down Hackett Street, get a chance, you want to drive down Hackett Street. You just paved that a couple of years ago, kind of frustrating. You had some utilities, water that had to be laid on the west side of Oak. But on the east side, you have a truck traffic. I appreciate Commissioner Hughes getting me in contact down there. They have really destroyed one corner of that area of Oak and Hackett, where enough to where it's pushed the asphalt probably up this far on the curb. So I've asked, I went today, talked to them about the alley. We've had issues and comments about the alley. The alley was graded, drugged, rolled today. There's no stone put in it yet. We're going to get in there because they've had some equipment in there too. So we haven't done even snow yet. But I did speak to the leadership of Hunt Construction. They're aware that we'd like to see them fix that area. They're going to be, if I'm not mistaken, I think you thought like, since they've been using that Dr. Carter's old office, his office, for the office themselves, that they'll be doing some paving around that area as well. We will pave for parking lot and everything else. So they're real good to work with today and hoping to be nice. So I don't expect them to repave the street, but if you drove down there and you would have thought this was paved 2 years ago, it was. And both of those issues, utilities and that, just like, I know it's what happens with utilities and stuff like that.
Well, I appreciate you checking on that.
And then Carol had mentioned that maybe you wanted me to speak on the auction.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
Carol's office received the contract from Rick Gates, which Rick is who does our city auction every year. Does a great job with it, has a lot of good volunteers. I've sent out emails to all the department heads. He called me again today. Rick will probably call me 37 times before July 18th. But he wants to come and take pictures. So Bart, I know you said you had some stuff. Talk with utilities. John, I'm not sure, Don, you would have anything. Is there anything over Stony there that you guys? Scotty, I probably want to take a picture. I know you said he had just one car. But he'll be out sometime this week. Probably get a hold of you guys and let you know if he wants to take those pictures. He has a website. He throws them up on. He asked about bicycles and things like that. So we'll be working with him next week and a half trying to get those pictures taken. And then get the contract signed. Basically, he comes in. He's one that handles the whole thing. Takes percentage, I suppose.
Yeah, he takes 25%, but it's well worth it. And he does the advertising for it. He actually takes care of the auction that day, takes care of all the collecting of the money, has the bid cards, everything. It's a lot easier than it used to be.
Comes in and marks them all per department, so he knows, obviously, himself and whatever. It's usually, last year was a little slow, I think. We had a lot of street signs, replaced street signs. We didn't have as many bicycles last year as we had in the past. I don't think we'll have as many this year either. That's kind of the auction in a nutshell. And then just the end of this month, we'll have spring cleanup, starting on the 29th of June. Busy at the street department.
You are very busy. Thank you. Compliments on Facebook. I saw. Good job on the street sweeping. Thank you. No, all the departments are doing great, but right now, everybody's looking at the street department because during the yards working, there's brush out there, there's all sorts of things going on. It's nice weather.
You have guys, keep guys busy, guys stay busy, so.
Jason, you want a motion to approve the contract, authorize the mayor to sign it?
Yeah, so
For the auction, but
yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Who should sign it? Just me or?
The motion can ask you to sign it. or
Okay.
directly sign it.
Okay.
do you want me to, Carol, would you like me to take that back and?
Once they
Yeah,
give,
if you want to,
once they give me approval.
or I can.
I just want to make copies also.
Okay, we'll do that.
Make that motion.
Okay.
Approve it for, some city auction.
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, blown away. I signed it.
I'll come and get the volunteer.
Carol will have it in her office.
Next.
Don, he's anxious.
Good evening, I'm ready with my radio voice. Since we're on TV, you never know when you have fans, right? Can you always make sure they can hear you? So I hope that works out well back there, Annie.
Thank you.
All right. You all, oh, great, welcome. And I'd like to know, are there guidelines for the Be Kind week? Because if not, I'm going to give my staff a week off with pay.
I think that was part of it, but.
There will be guidelines.
I'll make sure you tell the hell my help.
Guidelines.
Okay, all right. You all have the May 2020 permit report. We issued 107 permits in the month of May. I'll go through the highlights of it. Social distancing is still continuing, 19 fences, 2 new homes, 31 residential remodels, 20 roofs, 6 swimming pools, we'll talk about that in a minute, and 3 certificates of occupancy, we're gonna talk about that also. The total revenue collected for the month of May, $4,350.75. The valuation for May is over $400,000 for the treasurer and the tax, so we'll see how that works out. Swimming pool I want to talk about. Annie was very kind to put on some information on Facebook about both fencing and swimming pools. A lot of people don't understand that swimming pools need to be permitted. It's a accessory building, accessory item to the yard. And the reason why we have to have them permitted is you gotta have 811 locates so they're not being placed over the top of water or sewer lines or under electrical services. And since it's accessory items, there are setbacks, 5 foot on each side, or 3 foot on each, 5 foot on each side, 3 on the back. And so we're having a lot of pools right now that are out in the city of Frankfurt that have no fences around them. That's required too. We're trying to be as kind about it as we possibly can. We were at a place this morning, giving them a couple of weeks to try to get their fence moved into the backyard. It's already fenced up back there. But that's an issue that we're having right now, along with certificate of occupancies. We're actually doing 9 on Wednesday. As we're finding out, a lot of people just start their business, kick it up and get going, and they aren't certified building-wise, making sure that when the public comes in or their employee comes in, that everything is up and snuff. So we're working on those 2 items, trying to be a little more due diligent with those 2 items, those 2 areas. Today was the final day to receive bids for the John Redmond Park and Dorners Park, and we received 2 of those bids. I have them in the hands of Les. So I don't know if you want to talk about that or you want to look them over or what you're planning on doing.
We can just go ahead and open
I
it.
was gonna say, let's go ahead and get them open and see where we are. I'd like to get moving on those restrooms as soon as we can. Right, Garth?
That's right.
Okay. We have one from Early Construction Company. And this is to remodel bathrooms at Redmond Park. Total amount is $20,109. And then one from Burley Construction Company for Dorner Park. And that one is $19,955 for Dorner Park. So they recited the detail of what he would do, and we need to award any bid.
The ones on Third Street are renovations for the two that are currently there. On Dorners, we're taking bids to put a new one out there between the basketball goal and the worship court.
And these bids are from Denmark Homes Inc. in Lafayette. And this first one is for John Redmond restroom renovation quote. And that bid is $59,300. Denmark Homes Inc. And Denmark Homes has also submitted a bid for the building B, John Redmond restroom renovation quote. That first one was for building A, and this one for building B is $37,400. Building B. And then they also have submitted on behalf of Denmark Homes Inc. a bid for the new 12 by 12 foot unisex restroom at Dorner Park, $36,200. Those are all you received, aren't they, Dan?
When were those supposed to be?
Today was the 10th day, today was the day. We submitted full contractors.
And that's all that came back in.
I have a question about the first bid. Both buildings in there, what was that?
On Pearly?
Yes. There's two buildings.
Pearly has $20,109 on building A. Like it's just on building A.
Then haven't built the bid for the second one.
Oh, here it is, I'm sorry. Building A, he's got to remove this roof and replace 4.5 trusses. Building B, replace doors and frames, 36 inches steel, and he goes on. So, yeah, he's lumped it all together, but he does have building A and building B with $20,109. At Redmond Park. And the Dorner Park was the $19,955. So he's got both A and B in there. So the board can look these over and award them or take them under advisement. Study them and make sure that the contract fulfill the requirements that we need for insurance and everything.
Mark, are those restrooms open at Third Street?
No.
Neither one of them? Are they usable at this point?
Not really.
Okay.
We don't want to open them
Okay.
in the state that we're in.
Okay, that's what I wondered. And Dorner's Park, there's no restroom facilities either. Right now, we had, I think it was sewer maintenance, takeout, or pot thing. But right now, we don't have a restroom, Third Street or at Dorner's. So,
I think we should take time to keep them in advisement to make sure that inspector and Bart, that you review everything and make sure you advise us on the best decisions.
And then it would be working with you, but then also the building inspector's office as well, to do the inspections and are there gonna be any permits probably? Yeah, should we go ahead and, I guess we would do that the time we accept the bid, waive the permits, but we just wanna remember to do that as well. So did you wanna make a motion as such, or?
Make a motion that we take this under advisement as being reviewed. Would be an opportunity to bring it back at our next board meeting. That'd be enough time.
I think it would be.
Absolutely.
Same.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Aye. So Bart, can you get with Daniel, you guys kind of talk about it, maybe get with Greg and Megan and have some discussion before the next meeting?
All right, also, we were going over some invoices from Westlers on MS4s. And one of them that we received was from the swimming pool. I guess our question is, if we filed a notice of intent, because that gives you 5 years to do anything with the pool, and then that will make this MS4 last over a 4-year or 5-year period. If not, Westler said that they would still go ahead and try to keep it open. But our question is that was a notice of intent sent in for the actions on the pool, the fact that it was going to be delayed, and that's what we're needing.
What's the cost for that?
$678.75 for the permit. It breaks down as miscellaneous services, senior project manager, billed 2 hours and 25 minutes at a billing rate of $195. It's $438.75, and then environmental scientist, he's got that basically getting 3 hours for only $80, $240. Total labor was over 5.25 hours for $678.75.
At this time, the council is just looking at delaying the future, yes. So we're gonna try to review that every 3 to 6 months. I don't know if it's good for 5 years, is it something we want to go ahead and put in place?
It sounds like it's something that's already been enacted. I mean, they've incurred some expense.
I guess we just need to know if we filed a notice of intent. If not, then that's something that maybe we can try to do for you. And to get that 5 years.
Proceed, it's just that our increments in reevaluation are in the 3 to 6 month range. So I would say, yes, it's our intent to, but you're needing to know if we've
If we filed it with the state of Indiana, as we filed with the state of Indiana.
Do you have any advice left?
I would say file.
Go ahead and file it. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think, Greg? You good with that?
That's, again,
Yeah, since we're still staying within that time frame. Okay.
Just some updated information, Prairie Creek Park, Daniel went over along with Fire Marshal Kevin Catron, and they were looking at, make sure I get this right, Daniel, fire caulking for holes in the wall from electrical and plumbing. Some of the holes aren't just like a 2-inch pipe going through a 2.5-inch hole. It's like a 2-inch pipe going through 3 blocks. I guess you have to make sure you hit the hole. But they're required to fill in all those openings for fire protection. And so they have requested that we find the ordinances, we did all that, we turned all that information in today as requested, so that they'll know that, we weren't just flying off the cuff, and that both Daniel and Kevin both knew that had to be done. I think that one of the things that we'll pay attention to when we have updated meetings, as they're talking about the excess expense to the city, and I think that may be something that we want to hold discussion on when we have our updated meetings, because if you're taking out 2 or 3 blocks and put a 2-inch pipe in, should we be responsible for the 2 to 3 blocks being removed? So I'm throwing that out as an example rather than whether it's an actuality. But I think that there's a time where the contractors have to be a little bit accountable for their ability not to to make a proper size hole. Today, I've been made contact with Jim Spears, has made contact with us about some of the cuts being made by contractors when they're putting in new water and sewer lines, they're going across the sidewalks, and then they don't replace the section of sidewalk that they cut through. They just put gravel back in, nobody does anything. Now we've got a sidewalk that has gravel and not concrete. Back under Mayor Chris Pippinger, they had a ordinance put in place that deals with cuttings through concrete or asphalt through sidewalks or streets. And it requires them to have a permit to be doing those things. So we're not gonna do anything about it now. Some of the sidewalks that we're looking at, getting them replaced, we're gonna talk to our sidewalk contractor and talk to them about the ability to get some of these that have been cut back in order. But what we're going to do now is make contact with both Jim and the Waterworks and Todd Corey. Probably send them all that information so that when people come in to get their permits to put those utilities in, they also understand that they gotta come see us about a permit to make sure that the sidewalk is put back. I know that Jim has actually had contact with some of the contractors, and they're saying that's not our responsibility. We don't do concrete work. We just put the pipe in. Well, it is their responsibility. They make the cut. They got to put it back. So we'll deal with all that, but just more information for you than anything else. That's it. Unless you have some questions.
I'm good.
Good.
You good?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for all your work. Thanks for checking out Prairie Creek Park. Getting that taken care of. Bart, what do you have for us this evening?
Greg, I'll be quick. So the first thing I have, you guys have a special event form. It's for the Horseshoe Court. It was presented by Sam Payne. So he couldn't be here today. He told me he wished he could, so he could explain a little bit. But it's basically the same they've done in the past years. They don't need employees help. They pretty much take care of everything themselves. They did get the one concern he had was already taken care of today was the speed bump next to the border. So they were doing that, which is great. And there's really nothing to that's different. We've been over there. They've set it all up for COVID awareness, so they'll be separate. They're all ready to go as far as
I'm thinking, did we talk to you, Megan, as well?
We talked primarily to Mark Mitchell,
Yeah.
who shared the report with me, and it was very detailed. Sam submitted pictures and where the sanitized city station would be and where they were going to place and skip over courts, so it was distance requiring. So he said it all laid out appropriately.
So that's the first thing. I think you guys just have to approve that one. Or
And make a motion, we officially approve the agreement for that activity.
Second that.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. We're good to go. And you'll let Sam know, right?
yes.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
The other thing I have is we would like our volunteers for the petting zoo and aviary to start on Sunday. That is the day that you guys and the governor has approved for us to open finally. So we're really excited about it. We're ready to go. We have, it's a little bit different this year. We're not going to allow people to feed any of the animals. They do it anyway at the petting zoo when they bring it, which we can't stop, but we're not going to actually provide food for them to feed the animals this year, just as a separate precaution. We've set up hand sanitizing stations at both the entrance and when they leave. And so before they even enter the aviary, the volunteer would instruct them, please sanitize your hands, and then they would open the door. We're allowing 12 people in right now as well. We got the parks employees and we kind of spread out in the aviary, and we thought 12 was a good number where, at least for a month or two, we're going to do 12, and maybe we'll revisit that before we close. Petting zoo was gonna be a little bit bigger. We don't really have a number because it's so big in there. So if we think, it's gonna get unsafe, then we would actually, limit it, but right now we didn't feel. If you guys wanna put a number on it, that is perfectly fine, but we talked about it as a group and we decided it was just such a big area that, there's still, as long as we're, letting them know, please stay 6 feet apart, then we're okay.
So for my clarification, Bart, for the access isn't gained unless the volunteer is present to
Correct.
monitor that.
Yes.
So they can monitor the attendance within.
Yeah, so in the past, they had, as soon as they come through the petting zoo area, there was a chain, and they could only stay along one side. So it was a very limited access to the petting zoo. I changed that. I looked through the USDA book, and I called USDA inspector, and they told me they just have to be 3 feet away from the exotic animals if you have chain link fence. So for our new sloth enclosure that's being built there, we use plexiglass. So people can walk right up to that enclosure, they can get as close as they want, and they'll have access, they'll be able to see the sloths up close. That's what I wanted. So that's what we did for the other side of the enclosure, which is lemurs. So normally they were about 12 feet away is the closest you could get because they couldn't come down there. So we've changed that, now we've put stakes and a new chain up so everyone can get 3 feet away from the lemurs as well. In the winter, my plan is to change that entire area to where next year, hopefully, people will just be able to walk all the way around and we won't have to limit them, at all. So that's the goal, but for right now, that's how it works. So we have 4 volunteers, and then we have a few seasonal people that you guys approved a couple months ago that they've already been trained. Everyone is just anxious to start on Sunday.
So the volunteers, do we need to have them sign off on something, or do we just need to keep the list?
We do have a
Just need to
form.
keep the roster.
Okay.
Keep a roster?
And then we do have a form that they sign as well.
Okay, I was gonna say, every time they're in and out, they probably
Yes.
need to sign that.
They do.
Okay,
They have a sign-in sheet
Okay.
as soon as they arrive.
okay, thank you. We appreciate your volunteering.
Yeah, me too. That was awesome.
Well, I'll make a motion that we proceed with the grand opening, if you will, for this
Yeah.
coming Sunday.
Great.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller.
Aye.
Megan Sheets.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. Both volunteers can start.
All I have for you tonight.
Okay,
Barb?
thank you so much.
Did you need a contract with the PPA concession stand?
I sent that to the vendor. I did not receive it back yet, so.
Okay.
But you think we have somebody?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll check some information about, the questions that came up.
Mhm.
Obviously through the governor's, release, it definitely says during the stage that they're in right now, volleyball is acceptable.
Mhm.
There's a question about baseball.
Mhm.
That baseball is going on, and it pretty much states that the baseball diamonds are open. It does regulate league play,
Mhm.
which I think the question then that there are groups that do play, but it's not an organized league as of yet. You don't have a large number of spectators, you don't have teams playing, power tournaments.
The people on the softball board that I've spoken to, they are trying to start their leagues here in like a couple of weeks.
Right.
So we're gonna be in, hopefully to the next stage by then.
So I got a call that there was a game taking place. Just, there was 2 teams playing, I don't think it was actually being organized, but there were spectators there, but it appears as though by the governors, the ball diamonds are open.
Yeah.
So, as long as it's not a league that has a schedule for that.
Same with the volleyball net out there, it's the same
It's
thing.
back.
I mean, it's packed all the time when you go out there.
Yeah, it says non-contact sports that as long as it's not league.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, you have anything. Does anybody have anything? Les, I forgot.
No, I didn't have anything that we haven't covered.
Can't forget you. Does anybody have? Somebody have something for us? Did you forget to bring to adjourn.
City council,
Now, city council.
you guys want people in here for city council?
Oh, yes, Megan. Okay, wait, before we adjourn, you were too soon, Ken.
I'm sorry.
Okay, claims.
I make a motion we approve tonight's claims.
Roll call.
Mayor Sheets.
Aye.
Greg Miller. Megan Sheets. Thank you, Megan.
I would have forgotten. Okay, now adjourn. This meeting's adjourned at 6:10. Greg, this is the one.
I get that out there.
I know, I think I-
Oh,